What do you think I should do? Should I do this or that? Is that familiar? Polling people or collecting opinions before you make decisions? Maybe you have your go-to people that you always run things by. If that's you, you're not alone. Most of us are not taught on how to make decisions. Welcome to Possibilities with me, Hina Khan. I've been a coach and psychotherapist for well over a decade. And after working with hundreds of clients, here's what I've come to know. The only thing holding us back from a larger, more expansive life is our mindset. I'm going to help you break through your mental barriers and unlock infinite possibilities. Decisions. When we look at the habits of successful people like Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, or Michael Jordan, you'll find that they make decisions quickly. They don't linger in indecision in that uncomfortable push-pull state. In fact, one thing I tell my clients is if you want to starve fear, then don't add time to decisions. Make them quickly. The ability to make decisions for ourselves is indicative about how we feel about ourselves, our self-esteem, our self-image. In fact, you will increase your confidence by building the habit of making decisions quickly. And this is in all areas of our life. I was working with a couple, and over the years, for many reasons, a dynamic had formed where, in this case, the wife made all the decisions, and the husband would run everything by her. Most of them, honestly, were little things with no real consequence. They were both frustrated in this negative cycle. In our session, we laid out a plan. He wouldn't run things by her anymore. She would give him space to make decisions. And she would refrain from commenting or giving her opinion on the choices he made. As you can imagine, it took a bit of time getting used to. And it wasn't always comfortable, but in the end, they were able to build a healthier relationship. He built confidence in himself and his ability to make decisions. She was also able to let go and allow him to be the partner she wanted. Looking back, that was one of the pivotal things that turned the tide in that relationship. Another place I see indecision wreaking havoc is when people are spending so much time researching their decisions. This is something I hear from my clients a lot. But what ends up happening is people feel like they never have enough information to make a decision. To be honest, all that research simply reinforces uncertainty. They're just stuck in that phase of getting their ducks in a row until they abandon the idea altogether. And oh my goodness, now with the current technology, the rabbit hole of research is deep and long. Some of you may be thinking, Hina, are you asking us to be reckless? And the answer is no, of course not. But it's about trusting yourself, whether it has to do with, what am I going to order at the restaurant? Or should I take this job? Or invest in this opportunity? Look, you won't always get it right. But here's the thing. You can also never get it wrong. You're probably like, say what? Here's what I believe. So take it for what it's worth. That even in the decisions that didn't work out, I learned and I grew from them. I reframed failure. I saw the result as the environment giving me feedback, which I could then learn from. I didn't see it as a character flaw or as my own personal shortcoming. Here's the thing. You are not going to have all your ducks in a row necessarily. You really won't. You won't have all the information that you need to make a decision. You know, I love this story about John F. Kennedy and Wernher von Braun. Wernher von Braun was an aerospace engineer, and John F. Kennedy asked him, he said, what would it take to send a person to the moon and return that person safely back to Earth? Wernher von Braun said, "The will to do it." The will to do it. He didn't say, well, you need this kind of technology, this kind of personnel, we need this amount of money. He just said the will to do it. And with that, John F. Kennedy made the decision that they would send somebody to the moon and return them back safely to Earth. Once the decision was made, that's when all the resources showed up, the technology, the people, everything that he would need. But it couldn't happen until he made the decision. I always say, how is a dream killer? And we get tripped up on the how so many times, which is why the habit of decision-making is the habit of going beyond your five senses, what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. I mean, think about it. Think about the time when they were sending someone to the moon. For goodness sakes, phones were attached to the walls. We didn't have the technology that we have now. So you couldn't go by what you were seeing. You had to tap into your intuition. Your intuition has a whole other vantage point, a broader, more expansive view. If you want to start building your decision muscle, start with small things, like when you're at the grocery store deciding over red or green apples, or making plans with a friend. Even what you want to wear. Just limit the amount of time you spend going back and forth. And if you find yourself wanting to ask others what to do, pause. Don't send that text or email. Put the phone down. Pause. Check in with yourself and ask yourself what your gut says. As you know, we end each episode with gratitude, and we're going to do that now. Grab a notebook and a pen or open up notes on your phone. Press pause and do that now. Great. Now I just want you to spend some time thinking about some decisions that you've made that you are grateful for. And simply write what comes up for you. I would love to know what those decisions were. Send them over to me on Instagram at Coach with Hina. Personally, I am thrilled you made the decision to be with me today. By the way, if you love this content, can you do me a favor? Will you rate it or write a review? When you do that, it helps us reach more people. I really, really appreciate it. And I will meet you here next time on Possibilities. This episode was produced by Stephanie Phillips, presented by Frequency Podcast Network.